So hopefully you all are here for the Voyageur backpacking trip presentation. First off, my name is Lainey. I use she, her pronouns. I am the wilderness program director here at Camp Manitowish. Really my love for the outdoors and for camping really started at age 8 when I started going to a summer camp back in Michigan. Just fell in love with the whole experience, got to go on some cool trips as a teenager before joining our seasonal staff and leading backpacking canoeing trips for kids and adults. Fast forward a few more years, and I found myself as the program director of my home camp before I migrated here to Manitowish just this past January, so almost a year and a half ago now. And that's me. Go ahead, Kenzie.
Hey, thanks, lady. Hi, I'm Kenzie. I also use she, her pronouns, and I am the Outpost program director for this 2022 season. It's Tuesday, words are tough sometimes. I'm from Colorado initially, but have been around Manitowish since 2009. I was a camper and a participant in Outpost for a long time there. And then I started my journey on staff in 2017. I worked in a lot of different capacities here at camp, within summer camp leadership as a sectional, and most recently as an Outpost trip leader. So I'm super excited to be in this position this year and to talk to you all about your trips. So let's do just that. Let's dive right in. For the Voyageur level Outpost trip, our participants do not know who their leaders or other trip members are until they arrive here at camp, which is pretty exciting. Kind of like Christmas Day, you arrive and see all these new things, meet new people, and just really dive into that community building and pre-trip preparation pretty immediately once you arrive here. The groups will be spending all their time together here before heading out on trail, eating meals, packing out, and traveling through camp together. And then built into most of our scheduling is a lot of time dedicated to group facilitation that's kind of occurring throughout your time at camp to build that community before you head on trail. And with that, you have a day of facilitation led by our wonderful leadership staff to kind of reinforce that team building activities and the leadership initiation. And that can take place on the low ropes course and the high ropes course, and just really focusing on building those communication skills and fostering that community as early as possible. And then you have what we call the shakedown day. So you do half of a shakedown day where you get to get back into the swing of things, get back into the swing of trail, and dust off the dust. So it might be a lot of participants' first time backpacking, and as well in Outpost. This is the first level of our Outpost tripping. So this is really a time for leaders and groups to get comfortable and work on those technical skills, get comfortable with the weight of a pack on your back, feel what it feels like to have that fully packed pack on you, and go for a hike around camp. Pretty fun day, often one of participants' favorites while they're at camp. And then the pack out aspect, looking over your food, going over the menu, what you're going to be eating for your time on trail, and then packing out the gear, setting up a lot of your gear, the tents and the stoves, getting comfortable using the different equipment, looking over maps and your route, practicing with compasses, all that fun stuff to really get hands-on with your gear before you head out on the trail. And then you get to travel to the Superior Hiking Trail, which is where these trips will be taking place. You may hear it referred to as the SHT sometimes, just to shorten the Superior Hiking Trail a bit. So you'll hop in vans with the other groups and you will drive on over to the SHT, which is a really incredible place. It kind of goes along the arm of Minnesota, some pretty wild views out there. Like in this photo, you can see Lake Superior just peeking over the horizon there. Kind of just always have Lake Superior in your view, which is never a disappointing sight. And it's a pretty cool to have such a close place in our backyard with some pretty challenging hiking, which we're very fortunate to have close to us and get to send trips out here. So you'll be seeing things like cliffs, drainages into Lake Superior, which can look like rivers, little creeks, even waterfalls, and then some big meadows along the way, different types of forests. So you'll have a lot of varied terrain, which is super neat over the course of your trip. And then I know we had a few questions about what the average day on trail will look like. So I feel like this is a good place to just kind of throw that in here. So each day that you're out on trail, you're going to wake up, kind of pack up your personal gear within the tents, maybe take down your tents, change into what you'll be wearing while hiking during the day, cook breakfast as a group, eat breakfast, enjoy, hang out with your group for a little, and then take down all of camp, pack everything up into your packs, the daily puzzle of what fits where, who carries what, kind of distribute that weight equally amongst everyone. And then you'll hike for a couple hours in the morning, stop somewhere for TL, enjoy a view like this while eating some trail lunch TL, hang out, take that break, rest your legs, and then get back on the trail for the afternoon, hiking a few more hours. The days can range anywhere from 3.5 to 10 miles, just depending on kind of what the terrain looks like that day and what trail you need to be covering. And then you'll get to your campsite each night, the desired destination, set up camp. That's usually kind of the first thing that happens. Change into your campsite clothes, so maybe the more comfortable set of clothes, get out of those hiking boots, cook dinner. This is a really good time to hang out with your group. A lot of people like to play cards, read, just kind of relax, eat dinner before you head into your tents and do it all over the next day. So while you're out there on a day-to-day basis, the weather tends to be pretty good on the SHT, and pretty similar to what you will see here in the Northwoods. So you might have the typical rainy days with the big thunderstorms and those pristine sunny days that you hope will never end. Kind of temperature ranging similar to what you'd see in northern Wisconsin on a pretty daily basis. Can get a little chillier at night. And then the water, you'll be hiking alongside rivers and those streams and drainage basins, always with that view of Lake Superior. So you'll stay near a water source each night for cooking and drinking and all that fun stuff. And then some wildlife. You're bound to see some really neat wildlife while you're out on trail around less people. So that's when you see more of those critters. Could be anything from moose to black bears to the small critters that you'd see around camp. The what to bring. So this is usually where a lot of our questions tend to come in, especially given that this is the first level of an outpost trip. The great news here is that we provide a lot of the technical gear that you need on trip. The main thing being that backpack. We have a whole fleet of backpacks up here that we size to each participant. So really the one thing to think about on this what to bring list, which you will get after this webinar, Lainey will send out a recording of the webinar as well as a packing list for you all to kind of look through. But the big thing here is a good sturdy pair of hiking boots, something with good ankle support, a good sole, making sure if you are purchasing new ones that you're putting those on before you get out on the trail. Kind of wear them in a little, wear them around the house, take them on a walk, give them some love before you head out on trail. And the what to bring list that we send out outlines the type and quality of boot really well, with some great descriptions and examples as well. And then some good quality hiking socks as well. You're spending a lot of time in these boots. You want to protect your feet. So just finding what works for you. Those are often personal preference. So maybe just trying out a few pairs before you head out here. And then you'll see in this photo, one of the participants there does have trekking poles. Those are not necessary for this trip, as you aren't carrying a whole lot of food. But if that's something you're nervous about or feel like would make you more comfortable out there, it's certainly an option, but it is not a necessity or a requirement by any means. And then we always just like to point out the optionals and comfort items. This trip is longer than our in-camp trips and likely one of the longer trail trips you've been on. So we like to just mention that you can bring those little fun comfort items that maybe will make you feel a little bit more at home out there. So for our musicians, that could be small musical instruments, cameras, books, Kindles, watercolors, and then we always like to touch on journals. I really, really recommend bringing a journal. It's not only great for self-reflection, but it's also a great way to document the experience and kind of take a piece of it home with you when you get back. So if you need or want those little things that will improve your experience, go for it. And if you have any questions on gear in general after you kind of get a chance to glaze over that what to bring list, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer questions there. And then the pre-camp preparation. So these are things to start thinking about before you even arrive here at camp, before you go on your trip. I know we're all getting pretty excited. Summer's getting closer and closer. And so we encourage you to start preparing for trail and the trip now. These are kind of 4 of the bigger categories that we have identified you'll experience challenges on these trips. So the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the community. And there are ways that you can prepare yourself for these challenges. So let's talk about them. The mental and emotional, just kind of starting to do some self-reflection, thinking about the ways that you're going to be challenged out there. What may be making you nervous about the trip? What are some of the challenges you anticipate your brain might face while you're out on trail? for families, these are great conversations to have with your participants now. You can start thinking about the ways that you can address these challenges or the tools or skills that you might need to help you. And then right into community. It can be nerve-wracking to jump into a new community. You might be meeting these participants and your leader for the first time when you get to camp. So taking the time to think about what entering this new space is going to look like and how you want to interact. Think about the ways that you might need support while you're out there and how to ask for that help. That can often be a very difficult thing to do. So practicing that now can be a really important step before you head out on trail. And then that physical, often the big one. This is a hiking trip and you're going to have some challenging days. So it is important to start thinking about moving our bodies. We don't want to just go straight from a couch to putting a pack on our back and hiking. But we encourage you not to push yourself too hard. So thinking about things like gentle endurance activities, walks, bike rides, some low impact things, even swimming, yoga, maybe some hikes if that's accessible to you around the area, but not pushing yourself too hard before going on a trip like this. We want you out there, so we don't want to see those overuse injuries or just rolled ankles or anything before you head out on trail.
Awesome. Well, thanks for all that really fun information, Kenzie. I'm going to kind of talk about some important dates and some upcoming communications that you should be aware of. So last week you should have received your final information packet that would have outlined that April 30th is when final payments are due. So that's definitely something to take note of. You should have also received an email about an upcoming COVID town hall that's specific to Outpost participants, and we'll be hosting that on April 26th. That will also be recorded, so if you're not able to make it, we'll be sure to send that out to you. And then the exciting thing, so openings and closing days. So Voyo 1s will be welcoming you on June 26th, and then we'll be sending you home on July 9th. Our Voyo 2s will be arriving on July 31st and heading out on August 13th. So really excited. Feels like those dates are coming up really quickly. So I know that we're all just so excited to see participants here really soon. And then another important email that you should have received right when you registered is about camp docs. It should have been kind of letting you know, hey, you got to fill out your participant's profile. But it also had information regarding trip insurance. So trip insurance is something I always like to touch on in webinars, just because, you know, we never want to think about kind of the unforeseeable of, oh, hey, I roll my ankle, you know, the day before we're heading out on trail and I'm not able to go. You know, that would be a huge bummer, you know, because we've devoted, you know, financial resources into this, you know, physical, mental, emotional preparation, all of those things. And trip insurance can be a really great way to kind of add a layer of protection if for some reason you weren't able to go on your trip, or if, let's say, you go out on trail and, you know, let's say something happens out there, it requires you to come off trail. That is a key thing that can kind of add that layer of protection. So if you are interested in that, I encourage you to reach out to Camp Doc specifically. They can give you details about policies and coverage and what that might look like, but definitely worth thinking through if it's right for your family for this summer in Outpost. And then COVID considerations. As I said, we will be hosting a COVID town hall and really going in depth for our COVID protocols for the upcoming summer. But just some things that I wanted to touch on quickly here, starting with pre-camp. So some things that we'll be asking participants to do before camp that we would like them to monitor for signs and symptoms. We're also asking them to be fully vaccinated and provide proof of a negative PCR test administered 72 hours prior to arrival. If you are seeking an exemption to our vaccination policy, please reach out to myself or Ben Hoffman, our operations director, as soon as possible, so that way we can have that conversation with you. But after all of that exciting pre-camp stuff, we finally get to opening day. For those of you who experienced an opening day last year at camp, it'll look very similar. So you will kind of drive through the drive at the MLC. We'll help you unload your participants' bags. We'll have you say goodbye at the car, and then we will help your participant get to their trip group. And then we'll kind of send you on your way. So that is a brief synopsis of what to expect for opening day. Housing will be in our Voyo tents, which is a really cool platform tent village that's kind of off on its own in the woods a little bit, and it has its own little tiny community where the other Voyageur level groups will be staying while they're on camp. So that's really awesome. We're excited for them to experience that, because they're the only trip group level that gets to do that, which is cool. Masking will continue to be an important mitigation strategy for us. So some key places where this could come into play is in public interaction. So let's say we're stopping at a gas station or a grocery store on our way to the Superior Hiking Trail. That would be a great example of a time we would be asking participants to put their masks on. And then transportation, anytime we're sharing transportation with multiple people or outside parties, that would be a key time where we'd be asking folks to be masked. Testing will come into play if someone is symptomatic, and then closing day is something that we're still talking about as an organization as to what that might look like. So stay tuned for more information on that as decisions are made before camp. All right, that was a lot, but we have gotten to our question slide. So let me stop sharing my screen so we can see all your faces here or your screens. I think we answered most of the questions that were submitted ahead of time, but feel free to unmute yourselves or throw other questions in the chat if you have any. Or Kenzie and I rambled long enough to where we answered all the questions that could be had. I don't know. All right, great questions. We have, is there bus service for these trippers? So typically we have our camp vehicles that take our participants to the Superior Hiking Trail. In some instances, if we have more trips booked in one day where we can't accommodate with the vehicles that we have on site, we may seek an outside bus service to take them there. But that's really on a case-by-case basis. Right now, I don't believe we're planning on having any contracted services pick kids up in a bus. Oh, good question. Oh, bus service from the Chicagoland area. I can definitely send information out and confirm all of the bus pickup times. I believe that we're sticking with the same bus pickup and drop off locations as we have in the past, but I'm happy to send that information out to you all tomorrow when I send out the email of the recording. Good questions. What else can we answer for y'all? All right, well, we've done our extended 5 count as we like to do here at Camp Manitowish. Oh, let's see, another good question. Here we go. Communication, are the campers able to communicate? Kenzie, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I would love to. So while they are here at camp, they will not have access to their phones or any technology of that sort, so they won't be able to communicate in that sense. But we do allow campers to send letters home to their families. That can be before their trips and after their trips as well. And then for parents, you all are able to send letters as well. And then what's called campograms, which is kind of where you send an online email that's printed out and given to the participants whenever those are sent in. So that is the main form of communication that will happen between participants and their family members while they're here.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right. Well, it's been really fun chatting with you all and getting to present. I know we're both very, very excited for this trip. I'm excited for the upcoming summer. So just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Like I said, and like Kenzie mentioned, I will be sending out an email that'll have some follow-up information along with the recording of this email. So you can expect that from me tomorrow. Otherwise, if you have questions, if you look at the what to bring list and or have questions about gear, please reach out to us. That's why we're here. So please don't hesitate to do that. Kenzie, any last words?
Not much to add, just to echo what Lainey said. Thank you for joining us. We love this. This is why we're here. We're so excited for these trips. And summer's coming a lot faster than I think any of us were expecting, and we're super excited for that. Snow is finally starting to melt up here. So yeah, if any of those last minute burning questions kind of pop up, please email us, call us. We're happy to chat.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, y'all. Have a good rest of your night. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.